So since we started the rental car cleaning side of the shop, they've been a big detriment to the production of videos, mainly due to space and noise. Now that we're here in the new digs, we're going to try to turn that around and create some video fodder from the rental car side. Let's go have a look. So as part of the rental car cleaning, of course, we clean interior and exterior. It's all done manually, no automated machines, of course. One of the biggest problems with exterior cleaning is rinsing the car when you're done. Dragging a hose around gets to be tiring and it's in the way. So we're going to try to create a system where we have an overhead swivel hose that keeps things off out of the way, makes things a lot more efficient. So to get started, we raided a few areas of the shop. We have some leftover plumbing material, picked through the bits for some brass and stainless stock to make some fittings. We even rummaged through the RV parts and came up with coiled hose and the right fitting we're going to need to connect it on the end of this arm we're making here. The arm itself is something I had made a couple of years back to suspend a couple of lights over the welding table, and it was mounted to the ceiling by this top plate, and it could swing in a 360-degree arc around the table, provide light wherever you need it. With the higher ceilings here, I won't be able to use it anyway. So we're going to reuse it and make something useful for the rental car side of the shop. Thirteen 16ths 14 TPI. How often do you thread that? How's that? Should hold water. So I'd originally planned to reuse the existing arm, insert some PEX tube, went through the trouble to drop a whole bunch of fittings that made it really complicated, and then realized it's not going to work. So rummaging around through our scraps, we found some tubing that had been left here from the metal recycler. We did up some knives for his super stripper a couple of weeks back. And it's a nice stainless tubing. And what I think I'm going to do is make up a whole new arm in which the tubing becomes the water carrier itself, as opposed to running a tubing through it. Spent a bit of time today. We notched out a couple of standoffs for our tubes, and to give us our, we need a 9-inch drop from the ceiling out there to clear the steel frame structure. So, and what else? So I went ahead today and made a fitting for the end to connect our quick connect for the water line. Turned out to be an odd thread, but we made an adapter, welded it to the tube, and so we had this end complete. So as it stands right now, we're going to put a tube on either side. Come on, get in there. So the plan right now is to have the two standoffs. We're going to weld our pipe to this, and then we're going to find a way to get water from the center of this up through to this pipe. So the plan to get water up through will be using the brass. We're going to make a new bolt. Being as brass, we're going to make it quite a bit bigger in diameter than the 1/2 inch that's there. We'll increase the shoulder diameter. We'll still retain the Teflon for it to slide on, and we'll make a bolt that keeps our whole assembly together, but it's large enough that we can plumb water straight down through, and then we'll make an O-ring coupling from here to the pipe that'll be welded across. Incidentally, if anybody is wondering what this is, it is actually a rotating base from a tennis racket restringing machine that I had seen in the metal recyclers a couple of years back. It's just a cast aluminum base. We added a Teflon strip for it to slide on, and we added Teflon on the top. And it originally caught my eye because it had this beautiful piece of ground flat bar, which I thought would make a great taper attachment. That's another project coming up. So after a bit of horsing around, thinking about it, and trying 2 or 3 different configurations, I think what I want to do with this is to make a larger bolt to screw it all together. I've already roughed out a piece of brass that I want to use. We're going to put a larger thread in here. We have plenty of material. We can go up to about 1-inch thread. Again, bore the hole in here to match. so it retains concentricity. We'll thread this end to fit our hole, and eventually we'll put our wire down through the top and come out the bottom. What I want to do here is an O-ring fit in a bore to a pipe that goes down to our cross pipe and sends water out to the water hose. And now we get into order of operations. What do you do first? Well, we're going to leave our threading for later because we want to hold it here, and we want to put a knurl on the outside so we can adjust this and get it to the right tension once we get it in place. While we do that, we will probably do a bore here as well. And we'll flip it around and do our threading at the end of it. So since we're going knurling, is probably as good a time as any to break out our knurling tool that was supplied to us by Pierre and Philippe in Pierre's Garage and Phil's Projects. Both great channels. If you don't subscribe, be a good time to do so. We're going to do a few calculations on our diameter, and we'll get our knurling tool into use.